I was sitting at the family table, thinking it was just another boring dinner, until my cousin stood up, raised his glass, and announced, "I'm engaged to Jason's wife." Everyone laughed. My own mother clapped, leaned over, and whispered, "Finally, my loser son is getting what he deserves." And then Ava, my wife, threw divorce papers into my lap like trash. That's the moment I realized. Everyone at that table had been laughing behind my back for months. I didn't even react at first. My brain just blanked out. I could feel the blood draining from my face, my hands going cold, but my body stayed frozen, locked in some sick, twisted dream. Ava didn't even have the decency to look ashamed. She sat there smiling, clinking glasses with my cousin Tyler like she hadn't just gutted me in front of my whole family. I stared down at the divorce papers, my name already typed neatly at the top, just waiting for my signature. It hit me then. This wasn't a decision made overnight. This was planned, scripted, probably rehearsed 100 times behind closed doors while I was out working, paying bills, being the idiot who thought he was building a life with someone. The rest of the family? They didn't look shocked. No gasps, no angry shouts. Just grins. Like they'd been sitting on a juicy secret for months, barely able to contain their laughter until the big show. Even my dad, who usually stayed quiet, gave Tyler a nod of approval. And me? I felt like the punchline to a joke I didn't even know I was in. Ava leaned in close, her voice low so only I could hear, her breath smelling of expensive champagne. "You're just not man enough, Jason," she whispered, her lips barely moving. "Tyler knows how to take care of me, in ways you never could." I don't know what kept me from flipping that entire table. Maybe pride. Maybe pure, stunned heartbreak. Or maybe it was the tiny flicker of realization growing inside me that I wasn't surrounded by family anymore. Just snakes wearing familiar faces. Without saying a word, I picked up the pen lying next to the papers. My hand shook, but not from fear. From rage. From the kind of betrayal that carves itself into your bones. I signed my name slowly, deliberately, and slid the papers back across the table. They cheered. They actually cheered. It took everything inside me to push back the burning in my chest, to keep my face blank, to not give them the satisfaction of seeing me break. I stood up, tucked my chair in like it was just any other dinner, and walked out of the restaurant without looking back. The second I hit the cold night air, my legs almost gave out. I leaned against a lamppost, breathing hard, trying to figure out when exactly my life had turned into a bad reality show. I thought about every stupid late night waiting for Ava to come home from yoga. Every dumb time I blamed myself for feeling paranoid. Every excuse she fed me, every lie that I swallowed because I trusted her. She wasn't just cheating on me with Tyler. She was erasing me, dismantling the life we built and replacing it with some shiny, cruel fairy tale where I was the villain and Tyler was the prize. I could have walked away forever right then. Cut them all off. Changed my number, packed my things, disappeared. But fate wasn't done screwing with me yet. Because a week later, just when I thought I could start crawling out of the wreckage, they showed up at my office. All of them. Ava, Tyler, my mother, her sister Melissa, even Rick, the drunk uncle nobody even liked. They were smiling, carrying a cheap grocery store cake that said, "Family Forever," in smudge pink icing. Ava stepped forward like nothing had ever happened, her voice sweet as poisoned honey. "Jason," she said, flashing that fake innocent smile. "We're one blood. We have to stick together. One blood. The same blood that humiliated me, betrayed me, mocked me." I looked at the cake, at their stupid, hopeful faces, and something inside me snapped. This time, I wasn't walking away quietly. I didn't invite them in. I didn't say a word. I just stood there, staring at them in the doorway of my office, the cake drooping in Ava's hands like it knew it didn't belong there. Tyler looked nervous, his arm slung awkwardly around Ava's waist, trying to play the role of the victorious knight. Melissa's lipstick was smudged. Rick smelled like he had started drinking at breakfast. And my mother, the woman who used to wipe my scrapes and tell me I could do anything, stood there smiling like she was proud of what they'd done. I stepped aside and let them in. Not because they deserved it. Because I needed to hear them say it out loud. Needed to watch them squirm when they realized I wasn't the same fool they ambushed at that dinner. They filed in awkwardly, setting the cake down on my desk like it was some holy offering. Ava was the first to speak, her voice syrupy sweet. "Jason, we know you're hurt," she said, reaching out like she was about to touch my arm. I pulled away before she could. "But we're family. Blood is blood. We all make mistakes, right?" Mistakes. She called what they did a mistake, like she accidentally hit reply all on an email, not systematically destroyed my life. Tyler cleared his throat. We just want you to know, there's no hard feelings, man. I laughed. I couldn't help it. It ripped out of me, cold and broken and ugly. No hard feelings? You think I'm upset because of her? I said, my voice low and shaking. Ava stiffened. I could see the little twitch in her jaw. She hated not being the center of attention. No, I continued, my eyes sweeping across the room, daring any of them to look at me. I'm upset because I wasted so many years thinking any of you actually gave a damn about me. Melissa snorted, trying to whisper something to Rick, but I caught it. He's so dramatic. I slammed my fist on the desk, rattling the cake. Shut up, I snapped, my voice slicing through the room. Melissa jumped. Ava's eyes widened. For once, they weren't smirking. Good. You want to talk about family? I said, stepping closer to Ava. She shrank back slightly, the first real sign of fear. Family doesn't lie. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't stab you in the back and then show up a week later asking for favors. Ava opened her mouth, probably to spin some tale about love or destiny or whatever other garbage she told herself at night. I didn't let her. You're not my wife anymore, I said, my voice deadly calm. You're not my blood. You're not anything to me. I turned to my mother. Her face was red now, her smug smile wiped clean. And you, I said, my voice cold. You taught me to believe in loyalty. In family. You taught me to trust the people closest to me. And you were the first one to laugh when they tore me apart. No one spoke. No one even breathed. I grabbed the cake, lifted it up, and slammed it into the trash can so hard the plastic container shattered. You want my help? I said, stepping back, looking at the pathetic pile of ruined icing and crumpled box. There it is. That's what you're worth to me. Ava's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Tyler muttered something under his breath, but no one moved. No one knew what to say. I walked to the door, opened it wide, and pointed. Get out. For once, they listened. They filed out, heads down, the great family alliance crumbling in the hallway. And I stood there, heart pounding, the air crackling with the weight of everything they tried and failed to take from me. I thought that would be the end. I thought after throwing them out, I could finally start healing. I was wrong. They weren't done yet. The silence after they left was worse than any screaming match could have been. It sat in the corners of the room, heavy and poisonous, wrapping itself around me like smoke from a fire I didn't start but was still expected to put out. I sat down at my desk, staring at the wreckage of that stupid cake still dripping down the inside of the trash can. Family forever, what a joke. I should have felt powerful after kicking them out. Victorious even. But all I felt was empty. Like someone had carved a hole through the center of my chest and left me to bleed out in slow motion. How did it get this bad? I thought about all the years with Ava. The holidays. The birthdays. The night she'd curl up against me and swear I was the only man who ever really understood her. Lies. All of it. Every touch, every smile, every whispered promise had been a lie. I kept seeing Tyler's hand around her waist. My cousin. The kid I used to teach how to ride a bike. The kid I used to sneak beers with behind Uncle Rick's shed when we were teenagers. He looked proud of himself. Like he had beaten me at some competition I didn't even know we were having. And my mother. God, my own mother. The way she clapped when Ava threw those papers at me. It wasn't just Ava and Tyler. It was the people who were supposed to be my roots, my foundation. They had hacked me apart like I was nothing. I buried my face in my hands. My body shook, not from sadness anymore, from rage. Hot, violent, searing rage. I had been loyal to people who would have sold me for scraps. I had defended them, protected them. Ava could have told me she needed time, space, anything, and I would have given it to her. But instead, she chose public humiliation. She chose to twist the knife where everyone could watch. And it wasn't just about cheating. It was about power, control, erasing me like I was an old mistake they were embarrassed to admit they made. For hours, I sat there. The office emptied out around me. Phones stopped ringing. Lights dimmed. But I stayed frozen, replaying everything over and over in my head until even the memories started to rot. By the time I got home, it was past midnight. Our house felt haunted. Her perfume still clung to the sheets. Her hairbrush still sat on the counter. Her stupid coffee mug with the "World's Best Wife" slogan still sat in the sink. I should have packed everything she owned into garbage bags and thrown them onto the lawn. I should have burned her wedding dress in the backyard. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I wandered from room to room like a ghost, touching the life we built together and realizing none of it was real. When I reached the bedroom, I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out my phone. My thumb hovered over her name in my contacts. Delete it, I thought. Erase her like she erased you. But I couldn't. Not yet. Instead, I scrolled through old texts, old pictures, the vacations where she smiled like I was the center of her world, the Sunday mornings we spent in bed, wrapped up in each other, laughing about nothing, the anniversary gifts she pretended to love. I wanted to smash the phone against the wall, but I didn't. Instead, I let the poison run its course. I needed to feel it. Every ounce of betrayal, every fake kiss, every moment she was probably thinking about Tyler while lying next to me. Because if I didn't feel it, if I didn't burn through it, I knew I'd never be able to move past it. And deep down, a darker thought started to take root. If they thought they could ruin me and walk away smiling. They hadn't seen anything yet.by morning. Something inside me had hardened. The sadness was still there, sure, but it was buried under something sharper now. A steel kind of anger. Not the wild, screaming kind, the cold, focused kind that waits, that plans. I wasn't going to be their punchline anymore. If they wanted to turn me into the villain, I'd show them what a real villain looked like. First, I needed to know everything. Every dirty little secret. Because people like Ava and Tyler, they always had skeletons. They just got too arrogant to hide them properly. I started with Ava's laptop. She hadn't bothered to change her passwords, probably thought I was too broken to even try. Big mistake. In less than 10 minutes, I was inside her email. And what I found made my blood run colder than anything that happened at that dinner. Dozens of messages between her and Tyler. Planning. Plotting. Not just hooking up behind my back. No, that would have been too merciful. They were scheming to take everything from me. My half of the family business. My investments. Even the damn house. Once he signs the papers, it's all ours, Tyler wrote in one email, attaching a copy of a fake post-nup agreement he was trying to convince me I'd signed a year ago. Ava's reply? Don't worry, babe. He's too stupid to fight back. Always has been. Let him think he's walking away free. Meanwhile, we'll be cashing in. Reading it felt like someone poured acid straight into my veins. Every affectionate word she ever said to me. Every fake smile. Every time she told me I was the best thing that ever happened to her. Lies. Calculated, cold lies. I closed the laptop slowly, taking deep breaths. There was no going back now. No forgiveness. No second chances. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to fight them in court like they expected. I was going to destroy them quietly. Starting with Tyler. Because Ava might have been the face of the betrayal, but Tyler, my own blood, was the architect. And blood, as they love to remind me, sticks together. I spent the next 2 days gathering everything I could. Emails, bank records, messages, all the proof I needed to show that they didn't just cheat, they committed fraud, identity theft, conspiracy. And I wasn't planning to go to the police just yet. No, that would be too easy, too public, too messy. I had something better in mind. See, Tyler had just gotten a big promotion at his company, a job he bragged about nonstop on social media. Turns out, that company had very strict policies about personal misconduct and ethical violations. All it would take was one anonymous packet of evidence sent to their HR department, and his career would go up in flames overnight. And Ava? She had just started a small online boutique selling ethical fashion, all funded with the money she skimmed off our joint accounts. One tip to the right influencers about her financial gray areas, and her entire reputation would crash before she could even launch. I wasn't going to scream at them. I wasn't going to key their cars or post angry rants on Facebook. I was going to hit them where it really hurt. Their status, their image, their future. Because people like Ava and Tyler didn't feel shame about betraying you. They only felt shame when they got caught. When the whole world turned its back on them the way they turned theirs on me. And trust me, I was going to make sure everyone saw it happen.by Friday morning. The trap was set. It didn't take much. A few emails, a few anonymous packages sent from a coffee shop Wi-Fi, so they couldn't trace it back to me. Copies of Ava and Tyler's conversations. Screenshots of bank transfers. Screenshots of Ava bragging to Melissa about bleeding Jason dry without him even noticing. It was like dropping a match into a forest already soaked in gasoline. The first explosion hit Tyler. I was sitting at a little diner across the street from his office, sipping black coffee, when I saw him storm out of the building. His face was beet red, his tie flapping in the wind. 2 security guards followed him, one holding a cardboard box filled with what I could only assume were the sad leftovers of his career. Fired. No pension. No recommendations. Just a dead end and a long walk home. I smiled into my coffee. Not a big smile. Just enough. But I wasn't done. By Saturday, Ava's boutique was on fire, not literally, but close enough. A few carefully placed tips to some influencers about her shady finances, paired with screenshots of her laughing about exploiting dumb rich guys, and the outrage machine kicked in like clockwork. Her Instagram went from pictures of sunsets and faux inspirational quotes to thousands of angry comments. Hashtag fraud queen. Hashtag karma came early. Hashtag fake ethics. Sponsors pulled out. Her PayPal got frozen. Her brand partnerships dropped her like a bad habit. By Sunday, she posted a weepy Instagram story, begging her community for forgiveness, claiming she was misunderstood and attacked by haters. I didn't even have to lift a finger after that. The internet did the rest. But it wasn't just about watching them crash. It was about what came after. Sunday night, around 11 p.m., I heard the knock on my door. I already knew who it was before I even looked through the peephole. Ava. She looked like hell. Eyes swollen from crying. Hair messy. Clothes wrinkled and cheap, a far cry from the designer outfits she used to strut around in. Jason, she whispered as soon as I opened the door. Please. I made mistakes, but we're still family. We're still part of each other's lives, right? I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, staring down at her like she was a stranger begging for spare change. It was almost funny how fast they ran back the second their shiny new lives fell apart. No, I said simply. No, Ava. We're not family. We're not even the same species anymore. She dropped to her knees, grabbing at my jeans like some bad scene out of a soap opera. Please, Jason. Please. I have nothing left. Tyler's blaming me for everything. My accounts are frozen. I can't even pay my rent. I gently pulled my leg away, like you would with something disgusting stuck to your shoe. You chose this, I said, voice calm. Remember? You and Tyler. Remember all those nights laughing at me behind my back? Planning how you were going to cash in on me. Tears streaked down her face. I didn't mean it. I thought you wouldn't fight back. That made me laugh. Not the broken kind from before. A real, deep laugh that came from somewhere solid. You thought wrong. I stepped back into the house and started closing the door. Jason, please, she screamed, pounding her fist on the door. Please. I'll do anything. I hesitated for half a second, just enough for her to hope. Then I slammed the door in her face. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I smiled, really smiled. Because some people only learn when they lose everything. And Ava had just graduated with honors. For the first time in months, my house felt like mine again. No more Ava's perfume clinging to the air. No more fake love notes stuffed in drawers, pretending to mean something. No more ghosts haunting every corner. It was just me, silence, and the wide open space of starting over. And strangely enough, I wasn't afraid. I was relieved. Some nights I sat on the porch with a beer, watching the sun bleed out behind the rooftops, and realized they did me a favor. They ripped off the mask. They showed me who they were. And without them, I was lighter, stronger, better. I started sleeping through the night again, eating real meals instead of living off gas station sandwiches and bitter coffee. Even work got better, sharper, cleaner, more focused. People noticed. Clients started calling me personally. New deals started coming in. It's funny how when you cut the parasites out of your life, everything else begins to heal too. I even started hitting the gym again, something I hadn't done seriously in years. Every rep, every drop of sweat, was a reminder I was rebuilding, brick by brick, from the ground up. Not for revenge. Not for anyone else. For me. But just when I thought the storm was finally over, fate knocked on my door again, this time in a suit. It was a Wednesday morning. Clear skies. Good coffee. I was feeling almost human again. Then I heard the doorbell. Standing there was a man in his mid-40s. Sharp jawline, colder eyes. He introduced himself as Detective Harris. Flashed a badge. Asked if he could come in. My stomach twisted, but I stepped aside. He sat on the edge of the couch, flipping open a small notebook. There was a weird heaviness about him, like he wasn't just here for a friendly chat. Mr. Cole, he said, glancing up at me. This is about your cousin, Tyler. My hands tightened into fists without even thinking. What about him? Harris studied me for a long second, like he was weighing how much to say. Then he spoke. Tyler's in some serious trouble. And your name came up. My heart slammed against my ribs. What kind of trouble? The detective's voice was calm, almost bored. Fraud. Embezzlement. blackmail, and something that might touch on conspiracy to commit identity theft. I sat back hard, the couch creaking under me. I shouldn't have been surprised. Tyler always was a cockroach, but hearing it from a cop made it real in a way my revenge emails never did. He claims, Harris continued, that you were aware of some of his activities, that you might have even helped. I barked out a laugh, bitter, humorless. Helped? I said. I didn't even know he was capable of spelling embezzlement without autocorrect. The detective cracked a smile but didn't laugh. Yeah, that's what we thought too. We're not here to arrest you, Mr. Cole. Just asking questions. Questions. Always more questions. Always more fallout from a disaster I never asked for. I told Harris everything. The betrayal. The emails. The fake documents. I even showed him the screenshots still saved on my backup drive. His face stayed neutral, but I could tell it wasn't the first story like mine he'd heard. Before he left, he stood in the doorway, hesitating for a second. Off the record, he said, lowering his voice, you did the right thing. Cleaning house. People like that, they only understand consequences. And just like that, he was gone. I stood there for a long moment, staring at the closed door, realizing the war wasn't entirely over. There would be more fallout, more whispers. But I was ready now, because I finally understood the truth. Family isn't blood. Family is loyalty. And sometimes, the best thing you can do is burn it all down and build something better. The days after Detective Harris's visit felt strange, like I was living between two worlds. One part of me was free, lighter than I'd been in years. The other part knew there were still embers smoldering under the wreckage. And if I wasn't careful, they could catch fire again. I didn't hear anything more from the police. No surprise visits. No late-night calls. It seemed like Tyler's pathetic attempt to throw me under the bus didn't stick. Maybe because the evidence against him was too heavy. Maybe because the truth had finally started working in my favor. Meanwhile, news about Tyler and Ava kept trickling in. Tyler's accounts were frozen. His face was plastered across local news sites under headlines like Family Fraud Scandal and Cousin Betrayal Ends Career. Ava's boutique officially shut down, drowning in lawsuits and refund claims she couldn't pay. She posted a teary-eyed video begging for donations to rebuild her life, but the only thing she got was a comment section full of laughing emojis and serves you right messages. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. Not because I forgave them, hell no, but because they weren't worth another ounce of my energy. They weren't worth me. Instead, I focused on rebuilding something better, something real. I started spending time with people who didn't expect me to fail. Old friends I'd lost touch with because Ava didn't like their energy. I picked up hobbies I'd abandoned years ago, boxing, photography, hiking. I took a trip by myself for the first time in my life. No plans. No one waiting at home to poison my peace. Just me, a beat-up duffel bag, and the open road. And you know what? It was beautiful. It was raw. It was mine. I learned things too. Brutal things. Lessons that left scars but also made me stronger than I ever thought possible. Lesson 1. If someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Don't make excuses for them. Don't try to love them harder. Don't think loyalty will change betrayal. Lesson 2. Blood means nothing without respect. You can share DNA with someone and still have them be your worst enemy. Loyalty is earned, not inherited. Lesson 3. Never let betrayal turn you bitter. Let it turn you better. Smarter. Stronger. But never smaller. Some nights, I still felt the old anger creep in. Still heard Ava's fake little giggle. Still saw Tyler's smug grin across the dinner table as he announced his engagement to my wife. But now, instead of rage, I felt something else. Pity. Because they thought they won. They thought betraying me would make them powerful. All they really did was set themselves on fire and invite the whole world to watch them burn. And me? I didn't just survive. I rebuilt. Brick by bloody brick. They took my past. Fine. They can keep it. Because I'm too busy building a future so bright they'll need shades just to look in my direction. And if by some miracle Ava or Tyler ever find the courage to crawl back again, pleading, crying, begging for help, I'll know exactly what to say. Nothing. I'll close the door the same way I closed that chapter of my life. Without a word. Without a second thought. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't loud. It's silent. It's living so well that the people who tried to bury you have no choice but to choke on the dust you leave behind. I'm not broken anymore. I'm not the sad idiot sitting at a dinner table getting blindsided by betrayal. I'm something new. Something sharper. Something they'll never get close to again. And for the first time in a long time, I'm finally free.